This is the Time Is Now podcast, presented by IRG.
Welcome to the Time Is Now podcast, hosted by your team at IRG. I am your host, Justin Villa. And today we have two guys from the IRG team, Luis Victor Villalobos and Cengiz Bayerli. And we're joined with a very special guest, guys.
Exactly.
We are joined with Carmen Stevens from Vaster Capital. How are you? Welcome.
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for the privilege of being here with you guys.
Awesome. We are excited to have you here and kind of pick your brain on a few things, especially since the fact that we kind of do deal with a lot of international investors and people looking to put their money here in Miami, and who better than a perfect lender like yourself?
Yes.
So to help us out and help the clients and everybody who just has questions in the space get a better understanding of what it is.
Absolutely. I love the quote, "The time is now," and I think it really fits, in what's happening in our city right now. I was just sharing with Cengiz and Giovanna that how I see Miami. I've been here since 1967.
Wow.
So that was a long time ago.
Yeah, you have seen a lot, right?
A lot of up and down. But what I see right now, I've been in this industry for 35 years. Is not where to be compared to any type of boom that we have seen in the last few years. Interest rates may be a bit higher, but if you're trying to get a pick and to get a piece of Miami, it has to be done now.
Exactly.
It has to be done now. In my building where I'm at, my building is 345 apartments. People are on the waiting list to purchase in my building. So all I'm saying to everyone out there, and every single one of my clients and my realtors that are my partners, that the time is now.
Mm-hmm.
The time is now to connect to your realtor. The time is now to connect to IRG.
From your point of view as a lender who's always, searching and looking for the best options for your clients, what would you say to those people that are thinking precisely what you were just saying? They're thinking about waiting for a better rate. What would you tell them?
Okay. As an investor myself, I have made, and I own 26 properties in Miami. Wow. I started buying those properties many months ago. And every time that I had any leverage on any of those properties, I went ahead and I took the leverage out and reinvested it. I never worry about the interest rate. I'll tell you why. As an international investor, when you come and purchase a property, you open an LLC or a corp or whatever, right? You have a responsibility to the government at the end of the year. So if you pay cash for property, you really have no leverage on your taxes at the end of the year.
Exactly.
When you pay with a mortgage, whether it's a 6%, 7%, or 3%, depending on what you're collecting at the end of the year, is what you're going to be reporting to the IRS, at the end of the year. So the more that you report, the more interest you have, the better is going to be your leverage, because it's going to be a wash. Right now, we're seeing that interest rates are kind of at 7% for domestic buyers, but we have interest rates that do not go over maybe 8.25% with no documents.
Okay.
When you do the math on those mortgages, the return that the client receives is unmanageable. It's really nothing to think about. Because what you're trying to do is create your portfolio in the United States, then that should be the least of your worries. The one thing that you should be concerned about would be looking for opportunities, looking for good pre-construction opportunities. When you buy pre-construction today and that building closes in 5 years, you're looking at probably 25% increase on your contract.
Minimum, yeah.
Yeah.
Minimum.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And also, Carmen, like as you know, we as a group we have a lot of international clients, and as you know, I'm originally from Turkey. I have a lot of Turkish investors who invest in Miami, and they don't know how they can get mortgage. They all want to close in cash. You know, they need to learn to leverage it. And can you kind of explain actually all the international clients, that doesn't matter where they are from, anywhere in the world, that they can get a mortgage, and what are the like minimum requirements, or how can they do this?
That's a really great question. Unfortunately, our international clients, especially those that do their first purchase, in the United States from another country, you have to realize that they have no knowledge of, in our countries, it's totally different the way we do our transactions.
Very complicated.
Well, I want to tell you that I have great news to share with you guys, and that is, as an American citizen, it's a lot harder for me to get a mortgage than a foreign national.
Exactly.
I mean, if you are from Turkey, if you're from Colombia, if you are from Europe, any place in the world, all that you need is a CPA letter, okay, proving your income for the last 2 years and year to date. One bank statement or 2 bank statements from your local bank account. If you don't have a local bank account, you can give me a bank account from any place in the world, and that's it.
And
So simple, right?
And the passport, of course,
And that's it.
And that's it. It takes between 30 to 45 days, and my God, the sky's the limit.
And they don't even need to be in US to do this.
No.
They can do everything online, right? That's important.
They can do everything online. They can close the transaction in their country.
Exactly.
Okay, so they don't even need to be here to close their transaction.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think that's an important note because, I mean, we have a lot of, like Jenga said, we have a lot of investors where, I mean, it's their first time buying or first time investing and things like that. So in their head, it's like, oh, it's going to be very difficult. It's the U.S. It's not. I'm not even from there. I don't know how the process works. But if it's that easy, everybody could be doing it.
exactly.
It's easy. Yeah.
It's that easy. It's that easy.
Exactly.
And
And you were saying, like, if a client or an investor buys in Miami in a pre-construction project, they shouldn't think about the interest rates, right? Like, because some people are scared, and in the U.S. History, there have been interest rates went up to 15%. No one wants to remember that. But right now, interest rates are like 7-8%, as you said. It might be high, but probably it's going to come down. But if you wait for it, you are going to miss the opportunity in Miami. Like, I was looking at Instagram in the past week, and I've seen some advertisements in Coral Gables, Coconut Grove, houses which were bought 3 years ago. The prices tripled or quadrupled from 3 years ago. So forget about the interest rate.
It doesn't matter. The interest rate
matter.
will never match the equity that you get on your.
And even with 1 point change, let's say that there's interest rate of 6% compared to 8%. That 2 points, when you look at the monthly payment, it's like maybe $100 or let's say $500. And if it's an income producing property, if it's rented like daily and everything, let's say that it's rented daily for $500, it just covers it in one night.
Absolutely. And this is really great. You guys are very young,
Young 50s,
Yeah, you guys are very young. I'm a little older than you are, just a little.
A little.
Just a little.
Yeah.
But I remember in the 1980s when interest rates were 15%.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
15%.
Exactly.
Okay? And people were buying like there was no tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Brickell, okay?
It was built on 15%.
15%.
Yeah.
People from Ecuador, people from all over the world. Yes. Nobody care about the 15% because when you're really, again, building your portfolio, you're looking at the end of the line.
Yeah.
You're
It's
looking
like
at your bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
You should not worry. You cannot be penny wise and pound foolish.
Exactly.
You have to be
And
set.
the thing is that if you keep waiting for that, perfect, quote unquote, interest rate,
It doesn't.
you're going to be losing some good opportunities
Absolutely.
that come through the front door, and it is so much demand and so little offer at this point. You were saying in your
Exactly.
building is like lines of people waiting to buy. So if you're just waiting for the perfect interest rate, you're going to miss on some of those great opportunities.
Exactly. And Carmen, can we like a little bit touch on the refinancing part of it so people understand? Because international clients sometimes don't understand it. For example, in Turkey, you cannot just do it like that. You have to cover all the mortgage paid from out of your own pocket and then refinancing and stuff like that. And in US, it doesn't work like that. Maybe you can tell them. They say that they got which we are doing it for some clients of ours, as you know, but they got mortgages like a year ago for from 10%, 12%. Now it went down to 7, 8%, and we are refinancing it, and there's no penalties and stuff, right? Maybe you can show the different ways.
Let me tell you, the boom right now, like you said, Sandy, is that refinance. I am overwhelmed. I was telling you in how my appraisals are coming in. I have a client from Peru that bought at the Ritz and Casa Armani, and my appraisal at the Ritz came in at 7 million. She bought for 3.3 million.
Wow.
Okay,
She's cashing
and the Casa Armani appraisal, I cannot tell you that she bought for 2.7 million. My appraisal came in at 5.1. So what I'm doing with her right now, we're taking all the equity out because we have elections coming up.
Exactly.
In November.
Yes.
So we need to be careful about that. But right now, like I mentioned and share with all my people, is the money where is better is in your pocket.
Exactly.
It's in your pocket. So right now, if you own a property that may have some yield or may have some extra leverage, the only thing that I recommend is
Cash
that you
out.
go ahead to refinance it, take the money out, and reinvest it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's the wisest
That's
thing to do.
Very important.
Yeah, well, can you tell us a little bit about? We have some international clients that are interested in acquiring multifamily properties for investment. Like they want to buy a duplex, a triplex, a quadruplex. DSR credits. People do not understand how that works. The SCR credit. The SCR loans. Yeah.
Right, the SCR. Okay, it's very simple.
Yeah.
Okay, the way that it works is that, let's say you're buying a fourplex,
Okay.
or sixplex.
Okay.
And so what we do is that we analyze the income that each unit is going to
Produces.
be producing, okay, at the very beginning. I'll tell you that a lot of times, sometimes we need to come out of pocket a little bit, but as the company grows, real estate in Miami forever and ever and ever is going to go up minimum between 3 to 5% a year. Okay, so if you are an investor, you cannot be an investor playing to be an investor. So you can't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not a monopoly game.
Yep.
I mean, you need to bring your money, your investment, sit it there. And I love to, if you do have a client that needs information with that, I would love it.
Yeah.
We also have DSCR that do not need the income.
DSCR, yeah, it's like when they come with a 20% down, right?
20% down.
And then, the thing that these clients do not understand is that they don't need to. I mean, I think they have a minimum score, credit score is 620.
620.
They don't have to have income or a job or something. It's the
No.
property who's gonna do the whole
because
thing.
what we do is that we underwrite the property.
That's what it. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't
So-
underwrite the client. We underwrite the property.
Exactly.
And that makes a difference.
And
yeah.
if it's a good, sound property, I know that, when I, bought my properties, maybe I put $10,000 into it, just washing and making sure that paying it and make it more attractive, for the renters. But I never had a problem renting. I have 100% occupancy in all my
That's great.
units.
That's great.
100%.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of demand for housing here
Exactly.
in Miami. So.
I have another question for you. As
Sure.
you know, the Turkish construction companies is the top 3 in the world actually, and they're really good at it. And there's a lot of construction companies coming to Miami right now and building. So I get investors who wants to buy land and do some constructions to inform them. For example, let's say that the land costs $10 million. How many percent of that the person who's gonna invest needs to put it cash, and how much construction loan on top of it can they get to build a house or a high rise or whatever?
There are two ways
Just to give, to inform them.
There are 2 ways to build and construct, in the United States, here in Miami. The number one way to do it is when you buy your land and it's free and clear.
Yeah.
So that's your first asset, your
Exactly.
land, okay? And then we can give you a construction to perm loan, right? That the disbursements are going to be as the construction goes on.
Exactly.
At the end of the construction loan, we do an end loan, okay, and we pay off the construction loan, and then we leave it, for the investor to then go ahead and rent or sell, whatever they want to do. The other option is when you buy land with a mortgage, okay, they're going to ask you at least for 30-40%
Yes.
of the land.
Or let's say worst case 50%.
Worst case, 50%,
Yeah.
okay? And then again, we take that 50%, we take that loan, and I will give you a construction to perm loan. And we'll do the same thing. I did a lot of those things in Port St. Lucie back in the day. Remember when Port St. Lucie, a lot was $25,000?
Exactly.
Or $100,000?
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
yes, it is an opportunity, and as an investor, if your investors should really be looking at Miami, because right now we need production.
Exactly. We don't have enough inventory.
We don't have enough inventory,
So many
and I
people
can
will-
guarantee you that anything you build
Yes,
is going to sell.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Is going to sell
It just needs to be in the right location, right?
in the right location. But even in the not so good locations, like the Jackson area, I don't know if you've been around there
Yeah.
lately.
Yeah.
You see how it's being cleaned up?
Everything in Miami, every little neighborhood in Miami is being developed.
Yes.
People are searching for new spots where to build, what to clean, where to move their businesses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is amazing. What's happening in Miami is something never seen
I mean,
before.
you can see it, and when I have the opportunity to on the weekends, to be with my family, and you go to any type of restaurant, it doesn't matter how expensive it is.
Packed.
You have to have reservations.
Of
If
course.
not,
Packed, yeah.
you cannot get in.
Yeah, and if it's a brand, you have to wait a couple of weeks minimum.
Yes.
Minimum. There's
Yes.
no way out.
Yeah.
And if you go to a mall and you go, and everybody is at the more expensive stores, and I can see the cash flow, and I can see from the people that I deal with in the stores, she just spent $15,000. It's amazing what Miami is. It has a lot of culture.
Yes.
Okay, beautiful people.
Yeah, it's a melting pot,
It's a melting pot.
definitely.
And a lot of hospitality. But people come to Miami to make money.
Yeah. I see a lot of comments on social media that say that Miami is living a bubble. What do you think about that?
I disagree.
Totally.
There's
me
no
too.
bubble
Totally.
Yeah, but that's what
disagree.
people that they haven't lived here or they
Yeah.
do not know the local economy. They're saying that this cannot go on forever.
Or they don't know
However,
the-
historically, that's what's been happening.
Yeah, but they don't know the data. For example, in the ISG report, they were saying that houses like 2 million and up, 70% to 75% cash.
They were kept buying
know,
bought in
Could
cash.
you imagine?
Yeah, so they think that there's going to be a bubble. There's no bubble.
There is no bubble. Absolutely not. And when you're thinking of I've had clients that have thought about purchasing a property. I had somebody maybe a year ago that had a lot of liquidity from Argentina. And there were 3 brothers and they were coming here to invest, but they wanted to pay cash. Well, there was a lot of liquidity, like $30 million. They bought about 20 properties with the 30 million.
Yeah.
Okay? So right now, instead of paying cash and being able
Leverage.
to leverage.
You have to leverage.
Leverage.
We have to be smart as investors. You need
Exactly.
to
Yeah.
learn to use other people's money and make money on debt.
100%.
Absolutely.
That's the way you make yourself rich, is making money with debt. Good debt, though.
Exactly.
Not buying cars or watches or stuff like that. Just invest in real estate.
Yeah, and Carmen, I have another question. Sometimes, people usually ask me, especially amongst international clients, about these mortgage terms and let's say 30-year mortgage. They are stuck with that. Am I gonna pay it for 30 years? Can you a little bit get into that? Explain the different categories about that so that they can understand it. Because compared to our countries, like Venezuela, Turkey, or other countries, different system than U.S. That's why.
Absolutely. Okay, so in the mortgage industry, we have the flexibility to choose from multiple options. Okay, we have mortgages are usually amortized over 30 years. Okay, that's not a question. However, let's say an international client is coming and we have no prepayment penalty. You can buy your property today, close tomorrow, and have somebody that comes in and offers you double for your property. You can sell it. You know?
Of course.
I mean, you're not penalized for that particular. Okay, so mortgages, you also have the 3-year term, the 5-year term, the 7-year term, and the 10-year term. What does that mean? Okay, so if we go into a 3-year term, I have right now I'm offering 6.375 on a 3-year term, amortized over 30 years, no prepayment penalty. So my client will hold the loan for 3 years. On the 4th anniversary, the loan cannot go up more than 2 points or less than 2 points. So depending on the treasury, right, we can play with the treasury. And even if you go 2 points, we're talking about 8.375. Go anywhere in the world, go to Mexico and see how much they're charging for mortgages.
Exactly, of
you
course.
know, and
Or 2 digits.
Or the banks in Turkey, for example, are giving you interest rate of 55% for Turkish lira. I mean, so just saying.
But those economies, we lived it in Venezuela, and they wouldn't hold for long.
Exactly. But this is good that, Carmen, you are explaining that, because everyone is fixed with that 30-year term, 30 years mortgage. They don't understand it's like 3 years, 5 years, or 7 years thing.
Yes.
That,
International clients, I usually never put my clients on a 30-year fix because the interest rate is going to be much higher. But I always put my client on the least expensive mortgage.
Exactly.
The least, because, if I do it for 3 years and the return on the money is based on the interest rate, what interest rate am I going to give them? The lowest interest rate, which is the 6.375. So your equity and your return is going to be much higher than if you have a 7 or 8%.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, when I talk about the 6.375, it's exactly as simple as I explained before on the other products. Okay, you give me a CPA letter, you give me 2 bank statements, you give me your passport, you give me your visa, and we're ready to go.
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
So simple, right?
It's very simple.
Yeah, three for documentation. That's it. Nothing
simple
else.
Documentation, and when you say, people in their mind, they say, God, like you said, 7%. You do the math, and they're pennies to the dollar that are added to the monthly payment.
Yeah, they need to calculate it that way. Exactly.
Absolutely. All you should be concerned about is the return on the equity, the return on your money. That is your most important fact when you are an investor. Regardless of what the market is doing, regardless of how much they're selling you for, is your return good? Maybe over 10%? Go for it.
Of course.
Go for it.
Definitely.
Well, Carmen, I think that's a lot of information for our clients, and it's good information that I think kind of not only helped the clients but helped us kind of open our eyes, and now we can offer this to our clients, and we know it's that easy now. So definitely, you guys know what to do. Thank you so much, Carmen.
You're
Thank
very
you
welcome.
for being here and
thank
for taking time out of your day.
Thank you to Sandy and Giovanna and to you guys and IRG for the privilege of allowing me to be here with
No,
you.
it's a
We appreciate
privilege.
your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, guys, you know what to do. Reach us out on all our social medias, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram. You know where to check us out. Come check us out on 848 Brickell Ave, PH1. We're moving soon, but not yet. But thank you so much, guys. And remember, the time is now.
The time is now.
This is the Time Is Now podcast, presented by IRG.